Today, we're going to explore the fascinating subject of the ethereal body and its hidden powers. Now, throughout history, we as a humanity have been constantly blessed with so much new knowledge that evolves with time, that evolves with the development of human intellect. And so the concept of the ethereal body is one such example of deep and profound knowledge. And interestingly enough, its concept has been interpreted and used globally in a myriad of different ways, from mysticism to applied natural science and healing and lots more. Let us start by looking at how the published literature describes ethereal body. And not surprisingly, there are lots of different descriptions, and some of them quite wide and spread out in their scope. But let's look at a few of them before we go into our discussion. So the first definition I could find was that the ethereal body is a subtle body that is considered to be the first or lowest layer in the human energy field or aura. Okay? So it's the lowest layer in the human energy field. That's one way of looking at it. It is believed to be in immediate contact with the physical body and to sustain it and connect it with the higher bodies. The ethereal body holds memories and experiences throughout an individual's lifetime. And this body is identified with who a person thinks they are based on their history and experiences. So there's 4 already. The next one is, it is said to be full of love and light, with a beautiful blueprint for an individual's lifetimes. The next says, it encases the soul when a person dies. Then the other definition is, it is nourished by prana, or vital energy, which comes from the sun, and is affected by an individual's diet and lifestyle. So that's another way of looking at ethereal body. The next one says, it is connected to the physical body and plays a crucial role in sustaining life. The next one says, it is visible to those with an etheric sight as a white light aura surrounding the physical body. So those who have etheric sight claim that it is a white light aura surrounding the body. The ethereal body is also described as an invisible layer that surrounds the physical body, similar to an envelope, and is considered to be fundamental in keeping an individual alive. And number 10, some spiritual and esoteric traditions view the ethereal body as a vital component of human consciousness, influencing an individual's emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Maintaining a healthy and balanced ethereal body is believed to be essential for overall well-being and spiritual growth. So, my dear friends, we can see how diverse the understanding and interpretations of ethereal body are. And we just looked at 10 perspectives on it. And I'm sure if we dig deeper in current literature or ancient literature, we may find a lot more. Now, as the common adage goes, where there is smoke, there is a fire. So if all the published interpretations I have just shared are the so-called smoke, then the basic concept of the ethereal body is the fire. There is little doubt that this mystical and enigmatic aspect of our being does exist. There's little doubt of that. It does exist. Now, centuries and millennia of human civilization seem to concur on its existence, so we're not alone. Now, I first learned about the notion of ethereal body when I was a teenager. It wasn't called that, but the notion. As I listened to my parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts over the dinner table or telling us stories, this body kept creeping up, this invisible body. Some of the stuff I heard scared the living daylights out of me. And some made me feel quite soothed and inspired. And over time, I've encountered this special dimension of ourselves, particularly as my understanding evolved through meditation. So I was on an inner journey of learning, and today I'm going to share with you what I have learned. And I realized that the ethereal body is real, and it is a part of a beautifully crafted mosaic of states of being that each one of us embodies. Sounds complicated, but it can be quite simple as we contemplate it deeper today. So like I said, today I'm going to share my personal understanding of ethereal body with you, so that you may consider and contrast it with the numerous perspectives that exist in the public domain and contrast with it what you already know and believe. So this is purely what I have learned. So my dear friends, in my experience, a human being is a fascinating creation, endowed with a perfectly designed physical body, an intelligent mind, emotions, and a powerful life source we call the spirit or soul. All these amazing facets exist in and make up every single human being on this earth. And I see the ethereal body as part of our beautiful mosaic of creation. So whilst most of us have heard of it, how come most of us have not been able to recognize or realize it? I believe it all has to do with our way of life and its ever-increasing pace, clouded by endless bombardment of derailing information. Our minds are noisier now than they have ever been, to a point where there are so many of us who cannot even fall asleep due to the overactive racing mind. So in the midst of such mental chaos, how can we appreciate and access our finer inner states of being? It requires a conscious effort. So today, we're going to learn to open ourselves to our finer states of being, the ethereal body being one of them. Up to this point in time, we have known and experienced our physical body, and we can all claim to know our physical body, all of us. But do we really? Our mind has a perception of the physical body, and that's how we recognize it. Hence, we recognize our body as a mental projection, actually. So, my dear friends, your body is in fact what your mind thinks it is, based on what it sees, perceives, and imagines. So even our understanding of our own physical body is subject to potential mental flaws. As I said earlier, how can our mind perceive our physical body with accuracy when it is in such a state of clutter, noise, and chaos? And remember, the way the mind perceives the body is very powerful. For example, people who are hypochondriacs believe they are always ill in one way or another. They always believe they are ill. When the smallest things happen, then they assume the biggest of illnesses. And guess what? They become ill because the mind perceives them as being ill. Now, we've all heard the saying, mind over matter. So it is also true when the converse happens. You can actually be ill, but if you perceive yourself as well, you are well. So this is the first principle we have to recognize, the power and role of our mind and its perceptions. And this is most likely why most of us have been unable to know, connect with, or realize the ethereal body. It's the mind. So what will it take to achieve this? Our mind needs to take a back seat so that we can allow ourselves to know and experience our higher and more refined states of being, such as the ethereal body. So today I've invited our two metaphorical learned angel friends, Cyrus and Luminous, to help us better understand the ethereal body and to share their knowledge and wisdom with us. So I start by saying to Cyrus, current thinking predominantly projects the ethereal body as an outer body that surrounds our physical body, hence the name ethereal. And of course, the word ethereal also embodies a deep sense of subtlety. It describes the ethereal body as an energy field that communicates with and governs the physical body in so many diverse ways. What is your opinion of such a characterization? And we went through 10, so let's see what Cyrus has to say. Cyrus replies, look, today's thinking is not new. It is a product of generations of evolutionary understanding and interpretation of this profound invisible body. And so we have to respect all such knowledge. There is no absolute right or wrong answer when it comes to the ethereal body. But having said that, we think that positioning it around the outer body as a separate entity can be limiting for those who are seeking a deeper connection with it. So you have to think broader. Luminous added, as you said a few minutes ago, and I would like to repeat your words, you said, in my experience, a human being is a fascinating creation endowed with a perfectly designed physical body, an intelligent mind, emotions, and a powerful life source we call the spirit or soul. And all these remarkable facets exist in and make up every single human being. I see the ethereal body as part of our beautiful mosaic of creation. So Luminous says, I love this description, and I fully agree with it. I see the human being as comprised of the most intricate and beautiful states of being. So I said, let's discuss these states of being further, enlighten us on them. Are they separate and distinct in your understanding, like the published literature states? No, he replied. He said, I believe they are an integral part of one another. They exist within, and flow into one another in a continuous, dynamic way. I like the way you put it, I said. We are a mosaic of states of being that exist with and within one another and flow in and out of one another in a continuous, dynamic way. That's how our states of being work. Such a beautiful way to express it. Now, can you help simplify this concept a bit so we can all grasp it better? Sure, Cyrus said. Let us start with your basic states of being, which you all know, and then go upwards. Number one, he says you're all very familiar with your physical body and your mental perception of it. So let's call this the first state of being. Simple and evident. No explanation needed. So your physical body is your first state of being. Now let us move from simple, seen, and evident to the unseen but present, which is your mind. Your mind has two primary states that create, receive, and process thought. And thought is also invisible. It is unseen. So you have, firstly, the lower level mind, and we have discussed this many times. The lower level mind is one that enables us to sustain ourselves in this world, and it responds to and helps us act towards maintaining ourselves, such that, for example, I'm hungry, mind says, go to the fridge, get something to eat, I eat, hunger satisfied, issue closed. So lower level mind makes those lower level decisions of sustainability. So that is the second state. The third state is the higher level mind, which is where we make more complex decisions. Where should we live? Who should I work for? Where should my children go to school? What is my vision of the future? It has lots and lots of inputs, the higher level mind, and it assembles them, it taps into wisdom, and it makes decisions. So that is the third state. So from the body, first state, the lower level mind, second state, and then we go higher in the third state to the higher level mind. So that's the first three states: physical body, lower level mind, and higher level mind. He says, now you've often talked of the intellect, Lumina says, which you describe as being the border between the mind and the spirit, and we know it's for simplicity of understanding. However, the intellect is not the fourth state of being. There are more states to consider first. So let us imagine that the states of being or states of existence of a human being are exactly like a rainbow with 7 colors. Let us call this your rainbow of being. Let us call this your rainbow of being. And imagine this rainbow starting from one horizon before you and traversing the skies and ending up at the opposite end of the horizon. So it is a majestic rainbow that traverses the earth before your eyes. So now, the red color of the rainbow, which is the lowest frequency of light in the rainbow, is your state 1, the physical body, because it's of the lowest frequency of light. And it is this color of the rainbow that is always closest to the earth. Next, you have the color orange, which has the higher frequency of light than red. So state 2, which is your lower level mind, is above red, but still at the lower end of your rainbow of being. So that's red and orange. Next, you go to the yellow color, which has a higher frequency of light than red and orange. So this is your third state of being, your higher level mind. After the yellow comes the color green, your fourth state of being, which is in fact your emotional body. Through this body, all your perceptions and experiences are enriched with a wide array of emotions to give them character and vibrance. I mean, we see something, for example, or we are in a place and we experience, but we feel emotions, we feel things. All those emotions that are evoked in us connect with that experience to make it whole, enrich that experience, make it vibrant. So that comes from the emotional body, which is an integral part of the mind. So that is the fourth state. Next is the blue color, which represents the fifth state, which is the amnios body or the water body. Wow, I said to the guys, I said to the angels, I did not see that coming. The water body? Cyrus laughed and said, why does that surprise you? You are all beings of water. 80+% of your bodies are made up of water. You are basically a droplet of water in a shell called the human body. Now, water is something far greater than what most of you realize. Water is life, Cyrus says. Water is the most intelligent element on earth. And because of its supreme intelligence, you are all alive. Because water carries the intelligence fields of life. And this is also stated in all our scriptures. Now think of a seed buried in the ground, been there 500 years. And then that one droplet of water touches it and it springs to life. That's the life we are talking about. Now today we are going to discuss the role of water in a dimension you may not have consciously considered, Cyrus says. He says, let us look at the human fetus. What does it comprise? The fetus is made up primarily of water. It is connected to its food source from its mother through an umbilical cord. And this food also flows to the fetus as water, carrying nutrients. Next, the fetus is surrounded by a sea of water called the amniotic fluid, which plays a much deeper role than simply cushioning the fetus from shocks and other things. The amniotic fluid is a very powerful intelligence field that surrounds the fetus. And through this intelligence, the fetus grows, and like its organs take the correct shape, its body takes the correct formation in accordance with its genetic code. Cyrus says, how does the information of this genetic code reach every cell in your body, in the body of the fetus? There are no cables connecting them together. So what is the medium of information transfer? It is the intelligence fields of the amniotic fluid. This is why we call it the amnios body or the water body. So thoughts of the mother and her experiences are also captured within the amniotic sea, from where they are filtered and cleansed and allowed to diffuse into the baby. So the amniotic fluid also protects the baby from any damaging thoughts and emotions that the mother may have by filtering them out and preventing its tender being from being destroyed by the energies of these thoughts and emotions. So you can think of the amniotic fluid as a super intelligent mind that surrounds the fetus, protects it, nourishes it, and facilitates its correct growth and formation. Now when a baby is born, Cyrus says, the umbilical cord is cut and the amniotic fluid is also gone and the baby comes out. Or so you would think, he says. He says, no, the amniotic fluid, the amnios body is by no means gone when birth occurs. Its intelligence fields continue to be with the baby throughout its life in the form of the water body, where it continues to nourish the whole being of the baby and ensure its physical body and all its genetic codes are correctly fostered. And this continues through adulthood, all the way to the last moment of the human being on this earth. So our initial fetal intelligence form does not disappear at birth. It is with us always. Cyrus continued, what do you think happens to the umbilical cord? It is no longer needed for physical nourishment after birth. So what happens? Its spiritual role continues. It remains as a spiritual umbilical cord that connects the body with the source of life force. It is located in the center of the forehead. This is where the umbilical cord of life is connected. And as long as this cord is active, life energy flows through it and the body remains alive. When this cord is severed, no more life force flows and a person dies. So post-birth, your original fetal energetic and intelligence configuration does not change. It remains with you all your life. Ever thought of it this way? You all know that your body physically evolves, Cyrus says, in order to keep up with the changes in its environment, right? Yes, I replied, our body evolves. For example, I said, thousands of years ago, human earlobes were very large because we needed hearing to survive in the forest from predators or in hunting to find our prey. But today, over time, we don't need that sense of hearing so much. So what happens? There is a message from the environment that comes to our body, and our genetic code is modified, and over time the ears shrink. So that's how evolution works. And we are constantly making changes to our environment. So our bodies have to adapt physically and evolve to keep up with it. Good example, Luminous said. He said, when the human body evolves, how does the evolutionary signal or information reach the body? It occurs through the water body that interacts and communicates with the environment and sends the required signals to the genetic makeup of the body. The genetic codes change, and so does the physical body. Hence, large ears shrink and smaller ears form. That is your evidence. It happens in a measurable physical way, Luminous says. Then he says, In addition to channeling evolution, the water body also continues to protect the whole being from highly damaging thoughts and emotions. It does exactly what it used to do when you were a fetus. These damaging thoughts and emotions around you, they get filtered and cleansed by this water body before reaching the fragile cells of the physical body. If all such toxic thoughts that are around you and are generated within you were to penetrate your being directly, none of you would be able to survive. Especially, he said, as you journey through a world today of severe thought pollution. So thank God for the amnios or water body that shields you, like it has from the moment you were conceived. So this makes a lot of sense to us now, I added. Our science has shown us what thoughts do to water. And in previous webinars, I've shared with you images of the works of Masaru Emoto, and I have a couple to share with you today, but just to show us how thought and water communicate, and whatever thought we expose water to, Masaru Emoto used to then freeze the water that had been exposed to the thought down to minus 12 degrees, and he would photograph the crystals. So this, after he put the message of love and gratitude and froze the water to minus 12 degrees and took a photograph, this is the crystalline formation of the water. Beautiful, isn't it? This is love and gratitude. Then, this is the other one, where he put the message hope, and the water crystals come together beautifully. So water is picking up thought, it's picking up the energy, the information of thought. And we're now talking about the water body as well, remember. Then he put, I hate you. And that's what he got. So there is no form in the water. It's damaged. Now imagine, we are 80% water plus. And we are surrounded with thoughts and emotions that are so powerful, looking like this. If it weren't for our water body, we would all be in a lot of trouble. So these are some examples of how water communicates with thought. So coming back to our conversation with Cyrus and Luminous, now with the benefit of seeing physical evidence of the reaction of water to thought, Cyrus says, these pictures are very relevant and you should constantly remember them when you think, because you're affecting your own body. And you should also consciously remember them when you go into places where there is a lot of negativity or information coming at you with a lot of negativity. So Cyrus says one thing most of you may not realize is that thought has its own form of very powerful energy. Thought has its own form of very powerful energy. Since you can't see thought, you don't often appreciate the extent of its power. He said, let us imagine a thought as being equal to a chameleon. A thought as being equal to a chameleon. We all know what a chameleon is. Its color changes. And let us say that this chameleon has 100 units of energy. Okay, so this thought, this chameleon has 100 units of energy. The chameleon takes on different colors depending on where it is or what event it is present in. So with the change, the chameleon's color changes. Now here is a simple example, Cyrus says, that demonstrates thought energy and its impact through the chameleon. So there's a man, Charlie, who absolutely hates his wife. And he has an anger management problem too. And unfortunately, she tends to unknowingly press the triggers that drive him insane. Okay, so thought stage 1 is where Charlie is extremely angry with his wife. He's filled with rage, insanity, a cocktail of deadly thought and emotions. But he hasn't done anything to her yet. physically or verbally. So, would you consider his stage 1 thoughts dangerous? I would say yes. So Cyrus says you can't see them, but you know the powerful potential of his thoughts to do damage. That powerful potential is one form of energy that Charlie's thought has. One type of color of the chameleon, let's say it's red. Okay, so when he's angry, but he hasn't done anything, he hasn't spoken, not acted, the chameleon is red. So at this stage, the chameleon is red and it carries 100 units of energy. Now we go to thought stage 2. Here, Charlie loses control of himself and hits his poor wife mercilessly, causing her grievous physical harm. This is the second color of the same chameleon, the color where thought converts to action. Let us say that this color of the chameleon is a sizzling charcoal white color. You've all seen white charcoal when it's very hot. Let's say the chameleon is now of this color. So we have a charcoal white colored chameleon. Still the same chameleon that was once red. The 100 units of energy of the chameleon have now transformed into action. And the visible damage to his wife is absolutely clear. There is no doubt about it. So when the thought energy in stage 1 goes to stage 2 and becomes action, you see physical manifestation of that energy through the damage it has caused. It is still the same chameleon, so think of its power. The same thought, deadly before and deadly after action. Now let's look at color 3 of the same chameleon, which is thought stage 3. Let's say it's a powerful violet color. Here in stage 3, Charlie has not physically converted his thought to action. He has not hit his wife. He has not said anything. He bottles up all his deadly thoughts and emotions within himself, which ultimately over time make him very ill with cancer. So now, the same energy of the chameleon in color 3, violet, has manifested into damage to Charlie's organs. You can see him sick and suffering, that is evident. But the action of color 3 manifests internally in his body as a cancer. That's what the 100 units of energy in the violet chameleon has done. It has caused cancer. Now here is the bad news, Cyrus says. These chameleons have wings, and they can fly to others, other people, nature, environment, land in their beings and multiply endlessly, causing even broader scales of damage. So these chameleons have wings, they can fly, they can spread, they can multiply. This is what we call thought pollution. An atmosphere filled with billions of red chameleons, charcoal white ones, and violet ones, and others. That's thought pollution. And that is why your world is filled with war, he says, conflict, injustice, lies, and damage. Your media, your social media, and public opinion manipulations are releasing trillions of chameleons at you, Cyrus says, which are all manifesting into chaos you are all experiencing, including sharply rising cancers, diseases, and more. So now you can see, he says, why thought pollution can be so highly damaging. Now coming back to the water body, imagine if all the powerful thought energies of these chameleons were to be directly absorbed by the water in your blood and organs, as we saw in the Masuru Emoto photos, your body would degenerate instantly. And you saw the picture of hate. But this does not happen, thankfully, because your water body serves as your shield, Cyrus says, from your own chameleons and the swarms of chameleons of others. Of course, you are still getting damaged today by thought pollution. It's a fact. And you can see it via a real decline in human health across the board. But you all still manage to survive and function because this amnios shield, the water shield, filters out a large part of the toxic thought energy. It keeps most of the chameleons away from your vulnerable body cells. Isn't it a comforting thought, Cyrus says, that you are still surrounded by the ever-protective amniotic sea, just as when you were a fetus? It is now with you in the form of an intelligence field, whose intelligence stems from water. So this is your fifth state of being, your amnios or water body. And this body governs, protects, and regulates all four states that it encapsulates: the physical body, the two levels of the mind, and the emotional body, all wrapped around beautifully by this water body. So I asked Cyrus, what can we do at a practical level to nurture our amnios or water body? Since it's so important, what can we do to nurture it? Sure, Cyrus replied. Here is what we suggest. 3 suggestions. He says, first, give yourselves a few minutes of uninterrupted exposure every day to natural water. Natural water bodies such as rivers, lakes, oceans, streams, or even a little garden pond for that matter. It will do wonders for your water body, for you to be near a natural water body, however small it may be. And if you live in a place where this is not possible, go into a place of nature where there is grass, trees, or any other form of garden where water is present in the plants and trees. Then take a few moments while you are in that environment, either in front of the water body or in the garden, or in front of plants. Take a few moments and focus deeply on water. Think of water. And slowly repeat in your mind the word gratitude. In slow rhythm, gratitude. And as you are in this place of nature and you are focused on water, repeating the word gratitude, and you thank the water with deep sincerity from your soul, some of you may actually feel the water respond to your gratitude with a gentle, loving feeling. Some may just feel peaceful, and others energized. The feeling is unimportant. The discipline is. And treat this daily practice, Cyrus says, as one of your most powerful moments of health care in the day. One of your most powerful moments of health care in the day. Your water body responds to and reverberates with nature. Give it those moments, and you will not regret it, we assure you. But focus, focus, and focus, Cyrus says. Don't look at your cell phones or think of your problems while you are in that space for those few moments. Just look at, take in, and appreciate water as a foundation of nature, as your own core foundation. Lubbinus said our second advice to care for the water body is, if possible, try to physically remove yourself from environments where very toxic emotions, anger, and negativity exist. Because they put a lot of load on your water body. It has to work very hard. While this may not always be possible, do take as much time away each day from these toxins. Protect yourselves consciously. Now you know you have a water body. You know how water reacts. You know this water body is your shield. Help it and protect yourself. And our third advice is to practice a silent meditation at the end of your day, of letting go of all your powerful emotions such as anger, hurt, or whatever they may be. Whatever it is, because they are damaging your body. These are your own chameleons. And these are chameleons you've taken on from others. Let them go. And this meditation brings healing and leaves your being in a more neutral or, more positive state. So practice this meditation of letting go. And we have a number of guided meditation videos that can help on our YouTube channel. So short meditations that help cleanse our being of damaging emotions, Luminous says, he said, practice that every day. And he says, these three tips are golden, so do practice them. And I said, I have one more question about these chameleons before we move to the next field. What happens when our thoughts are positive, harmonious, and loving, for example? Great question, Cyrus said. He said, then your chameleons are beautiful, with each one having minus 200 units of energy, for example. Positive thoughts convert into positive actions, which are uniting and healing in nature. Remember, they have minus 200 energy units per chameleon. So when they are spread and they multiply and they neutralize the red, charcoal white, and violet chameleons with double force. So positive thoughts can reverse negativity with greater impact. And therefore you should all be working on your power of positive thought to shift human consciousness back to peace and positivity. Cyrus urges us to do that. Meditation is a great tool to achieve this, because through meditation you can reach the consciousness of all your fellow beings with your positive thoughts. These are great analogies, I said. Thank you. And once again, we have many videos on guided meditations for shifting human consciousness for the positive, spreading world peace. Please go on the YouTube channel and practice them. You'll enjoy them. Through collective thought, we can achieve so much change in our world. And now we've begun to understand that one of our ethereal levels is the water body, and we are beginning to understand its power and capacity. And now we know we can do something with it. Luminous continued now. This brings us to the indigo color of the rainbow, which is your sixth state. And this is an extension of your water body, which forms the ethereal body. So the water body and ethereal body are one, really. It's an extension of the water body. So you have to think of the ethereal body as an inseparable part of your amnios or water body. Let us look at the fetus once again. He says, you have the baby in the amniotic sea, which is surrounded and contained within the membrane of the womb. Your ethereal body, your sixth state, is exactly like the womb membrane. It embodies states 1 to 5. The physical body, the lower level mind, the higher level mind, the emotional body, and the amnios or water body of which it is a part. They are all engaged with the ethereal body, making the ethereal body an extremely important and refined state of being. And remember, you cannot think of state 5, the amnios, as being distinct from state 6, the ethereal body. They are fused into one another. Now, the ethereal body serves a multitude of key purposes. One, it has a very deep interaction with every cell and organ in the physical body. Two, it engages with all the thoughts of the lower and higher level minds. Thirdly, it manages the emotional body, constantly seeking to create and sustain harmony between the body, mind, and emotions. Because without this harmony, all these four states can suffer significant damage. So it is the harmonizer of states 1 to 4. Number 4, the ethereal body forms part of the superintelligence of the water body. Like we said before, the water body is like a superintelligent mind that encases states 1 to 4. The ethereal body is that too. The ethereal body also, in addition to this, has a profound makeup of its own as well. It has 6 centers or fields, which we call focal points, that help all elements of the being, all states of being, be aligned. I added, okay, so this all now fits beautifully in our understanding. We did a full masterclass series a couple of years ago, webinars on alignment and healing. So let's summarize what these 6 fields are, and please, I would recommend you revisit those webinars and practice the alignment. If for those of you who are still not practicing it or have stopped practicing it. But let's summarize what these 6 fields are. And if you all recall, the 6 fields have the shape of a vortex. So this is the vortex. And you can see it's dynamic. It goes down to the smallest of the small and out to the largest of the large. And this is the shape of all our energy fields. This is the shape of thought energy as well, a vortex. And it has to be this shape so that it can go down to the micro, sub-micro level till it disappears, which is why we don't see it. Or it can go to a macro level all the way into the universe. So that's the importance of the shape of the vortex. And we have talked extensively in the past about it, and there's good videos on this too. Coming to the ethereal body, and we talked about 6 focal points. And so the first focal point is the light field, which is the umbilical cord that connects us to our life force. Then we have the sensory field, which I will talk about in a moment. Then we have the field of air, which is the flow of all the gaseous fluids in the body. Then we have the field of flow, which is liquid fluids flowing in the body. We have the field of cleansing, so that plays an important part of keeping the body. This is where all our cleansing organs are. And finally, the earth field. So let's look at the energetic makeup of the body. So we have the light field first. So the light field is where life force flows from the soul to the body. And it flows down all these fields. And this is where life force reaches all our entire being. And this focal point is in the middle of our forehead. All the focal points are hollows in the body, natural hollows, except the earth field, which is between the 2 feet. The sensory field starts from the middle of the forehead and goes to the hollow of the chin. In this field, all our senses are housed. Touch, taste, vision, hearing. So all that is housed or governed by the sensory field. So now imagine for those who are engaging with the light field, all your senses are enlightened when we do that. This is why we meditate. And then when we do the alignment, and you can go and practice it from the videos, you bring light into all your senses. So this is the sensory field. And then comes the field of air, which is from the bottom of from the hollow of your chin to the hollow at the top of your neck. So this field governs the flow of air that you breathe in, all the oxygen, the movement of all this oxygen through your body. It picks up carbon dioxide and you release it all. This is all governed by this field. And then the 4th field is the field of flow, which is the center, the solar plexus, which is where the heart is located, and all the fluids that flow from the heart towards the lymphatic system and back, entire fluid flow of the body is governed here. So they're important organs. There's lungs in this field, there's heart and fluid flow here, there's the senses here, and then we come down to the field of cleansing, which is from the center, so our solar plexus, to the hollow just above our pubis. And that is the field of cleansing, where we have our liver, which detoxifies the blood, we have our intestines, we have all our cleansing organs here. And then from that hollow above the pubis to the center between your 2 feet is the earth field, which grounds the body to the earth. Now, what happens is, in a perfect world, and this is your ethereal body, In a perfect world, in a perfect functioning life, you would be able to align all these fields. And so you always have life force, all your senses completely aligned, governing all the organs perfectly, including the fields of flow and all your cleansing organs. And this is the hallmark of a completely healthy body. But think for a moment, if this sensory field is triggered with so many emotions and is completely knocked off and it moves out, you start suffering at all these levels. So it's so important that we align ourselves every day. And I've taught this meditative practice and physical practice of alignment in the videos. Please go back and view them. So with that, Luminous says, you've explained all this is great. Then that was the ethereal body, and the water body being an integral part of it. And this leads us to the seventh and final color of the rainbow, which is violet. And this is the color with the highest frequency, and it rests furthest away from the earth in the rainbow. And this violet color is such a high frequency that it's almost invisible. Ultraviolet is not visible. So this seventh state of being is the intellect. It wasn't the fourth, it's the seventh. And the intellect borders with the eternal soul, the universal light, the source of all life energy. And when all seven colors of the rainbow merge, they produce white light, which in this case is the soul. So you can visualize the white light, which is the soul, opening up into these seven colors. So this is what makes the intellect of such high vibration, frequency, and intelligence. That's why it is given the seventh color. The intellect is the state of the highest form of human intelligence. It's our highest intelligence level, the intellect. It is the state from where enlightened thought emerges and flows downwards into the lower states of being. Now, I asked Cyrus, can you explain enlightened thought further? What do you mean by that? Cyrus says, sure, let's look at some examples. The first enlightened thought example is inspiration. Inspiration is a high vibration intelligence that flows from the soul, where all the knowledge of the journey of this lifetime and all lives and its purpose, they all reside. So that inspiration flows from that level. And when it reaches the intellect, it transforms into enlightened thought. And from the intellect, it flows through the different states, all the way down to the mind and the emotions, which are states 2, 3, and 4. Here, this inspiration transforms into what we call actionable thought. And if your mind and emotions are focused and receptive, then this is how the most brilliant ideas become actionable in your mind. It comes from inspiration and not your mental genius. If the mind and emotions are in a state of chaos and unreceptive, the inspiration does not manifest into actionable thought. You just don't perceive it, you do not get it. Hence, this is why it is so important to keep the mind decluttered and free of chaos. And this is one of the key roles of meditation in day-to-day material life and practicing the alignment. Another example of enlightened thought is intuition, which also follows the same path as inspiration. However, intuition is a more grounded type of thought. It is of a lower vibration than inspiration because it also has roots in the higher level mind and its memory and wisdom bank. So while intuition is a form of enlightened thought, it takes further shape in the mind before it becomes actionable thought. Another example is inner voice, which is also a form of inspiration. It comes as a guiding voice to protect you and help you and maintain the course in life that is in accordance with your purpose. And we have discussed purpose of life in so many previous webinars, but we also talked about the karmic compass in which our purpose of life is set. And so inner voice keeps you in accordance with that karmic purpose. Another type of enlightened thought is premonition, which is a form of inspiration also linked to the karmic compass. Deja vu is a type of premonition as well, and we have a specific video on deja vu. Please watch it. Then he says there is prayer and higher thoughts of the Creator. Thoughts derived from scriptures and deeper spiritual learning. These are enlightened thoughts that flow up from your lower states of being to your ethereal body and intellect. So they actually start lower down and flow up. These are thoughts of very high vibration that resonate with your soul via your intellect. These are thoughts that flow in the opposite direction to inspiration. And they need to be cultivated and harnessed with discipline, as they can enrich all states of your being. So we recommend you make time for them every day. There's a very good reason why human beliefs and traditions over the millennia have encouraged the practice of prayer and spiritual contemplation since time immemorial. So these are examples of enlightened thought. Cyrus continued, the intellect also governs the ethereal body and its 6 fields. Because when life force flows from the soul, its first point of engagement with your being is the intellect. And from here it flows to all the 6 states. The ethereal body draws healing codes and powerful forces of enlightenment from life force. And this also comes from the level of intellect. Therefore, when you practice self-healing, you activate the powerful process of correction through the intellect. And this process manifests via the ethereal body and its focal points, which is why the alignment is so powerful. As soon as you start practicing it, you are in the ethereal stage. So you can see how beautifully everything ties together in your being, from soul to intellect to ethereal body to amnios or water body, the emotional body, the 2 levels of the mind, and the physical body. And every cell of the body resonates with each one of these 6 higher states. This is what makes the human being a perfect creation. Luminous said we would like to conclude with this thought. Think of an orchestra where you have basic instruments and highly refined instruments. Not all instruments are the same because their vibrations and frequencies are different from basic to highly subtle. But when the orchestra plays in harmony, the music is one. Every instrument and its vibration are embedded in this music. Similarly, all in your being, your 7 states are not separate. One is an extension of another, like a rainbow whose colors flow into one another. And together, your 7 states make each one of you a truly unique, beautiful, and profound creation. So we have shown you today via your rainbow of being. We've shown you that. And also remember that the best music of an orchestra can only come from the harmony of its instruments. Similarly, you are all created as beings of harmony with your 7 states, embedded together as a mosaic of intelligence and energy that completes you as a whole being. Those of you that do reach and function from the level of the intellect, you will find yourselves becoming the conductor of your orchestra. Such an exalted state to be in and achievable by all those who strive for it. So I thank Cyrus and Luminous for sharing their enlightening knowledge with us today. And my dear friends, I hope we have much to contemplate about from what we learned from them. We are right at the end of our time today. But I'd like to thank you all deeply for being here, bringing your positive energy, your light to today's webinar. I know many of you have not been able to be here because of Thanksgiving, but we will try and get you the video as soon as possible. So I pray that you may all be blessed, that the light of our Creator may always be with you, to help you, guide you, protect you, and love you always. Stay blessed.